Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Chris Freeman, and I'm here with our esteemed panelists here. And we're going to be presenting on streaming deployment architectures in higher education. And so there's no one way that really happens. So our experts here, including myself, we do it all very differently. And so with that, I want to make sure that you guys really get the questions answered that you're looking for and what you're trying to get out of this session, you really get that. So we want to leave this very open for Q&A. So these guys are going to do an introduction and talk about, a little bit about how they do what they do. But if you guys at any time have a question or you want to jump in with anything, please feel free, because that's really what we're looking for to get out of this session. So I'll start real quick. Chris Freeman again. I'm from Temple's Fox School of Business. We're in Philadelphia, so I travel very far to be here. We have a live studio. We capture people there. We do a little bit of everything. So we do some live streaming. We do some on-demand video. We have like a video library. I have an image of that, actually. We have a video library. Students can go in and get these videos on demand. We have live synchronous sessions for our program. All of our stuff, our videos are hosted. We have it hosted up on Vimeo. The transcriptions come from another company called 3Play, and we bring them together to create our video library through, it's actually just a WordPress installation. So very easy, something that we could really manage in-house, very low tech skills for that front of it. Obviously, the studio, we have a team of video production people who help us. Our entire online digital learning team is about 10 people, including technology, instructional designers, and the video production team. And we also we're very heavy into live synchronous sessions. And for that, we use a service, WebEx. All the students log in to the class live. The professor, they can put them in groups there. They can work on projects together. They can ask live questions to the presenter. Everyone is encouraged to have their camera on. They can call in through the VoIP or just through regular telephone. And in that way, they can interact with everyone. So that's just a little bit about my program. So to pass it on, Derek.
Okay. My name is Derek Freeman, and I'm a webcast producer for our program, MedNet 21. I work in the Center for Continuing Medical Education at The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center. And essentially what we do with our MedNet program is it's basically a webcast that we record. It's for CME purposes for doctors if they want to get CME credit for watching a webcast. And it's basically education, doctors teaching doctors. So the primary focus is for primary care physicians, and then we open it up and provide that content to them in a way that they can watch it in a group setting. So we have around 32 subscribing hospitals that subscribe to the program in approximately 8 states. So they watch the webcast in a group setting. They can also watch it on devices, Android and Apple devices. They can also watch it at their convenience on their computer. So what we've really seen with the program is there's been a big use of our webcast in a group setting. Where we usually have a site administrator at the different hospitals that actually manage the program and help manage the program, and I provide support to them and resources for them, educational resources, tutorials, and also phone support in terms of providing, whether it be technical support. Some support is using GoToMeeting. And so for the experience, it's mainly a webcast that we don't do live. We record it as if it's live. So we record it in one take. We let the presenters know that we don't stop and we just continue to go forward. So we'll do approximately 40 webcasts in a season. Our season goes from September, beginning of September through June, the end of June. And we'll have a webcast basically every week. And it's essentially most of the work that I do during the week is preparing for the webcast. And the great thing about being at a teaching educational facility and an academic medical center is we have great presenters that always do a great job of presenting the content. So they can always do it really well in one take. One of the things that's nice, let me show you some of the slides here. Are you able to see these? Okay. So in terms of some of the technology that we're using, let me go to the studio first. And I'll just go through these real quick. This is just the studio setup that we use for our program. And the nice thing that we do is we have a partnership with our television station, WOSU, that actually does the recordings for us. We've actually purchased the set where we could just have it always in their studio, so we can pretty much use it every Friday. So the thing that we really love is we can have a real nice glossy product that we can deliver on a regular basis, and it looks really professional in this sense. And so we also have a moderator that helps us moderate the program for our CME, and then we also will have a couple of guests that we have on here. In terms of technology, I wanted to just show what we're using. The great thing for our group is for providing our delivery, we only needed to buy a recorder to deliver our content. There's been a big push at The Ohio State University in terms of getting content online and more classes online. Because of that, with the Office of Distance Education and E-Learning, they actually basically take care of the servers. They manage the servers for it, and what's great is they provide the servers for free for us. So the great thing is because there's buy-in on a high level at the university, we get our hosting for free. And the only thing we have to do is just get support from the tech folks over with the Office of Distance Education and E-Learning. And we purchased the recorder for around $13,000, and so we can pretty much just be one of the players on that server to deliver our content. Like I said, the recorder was $13,000. If we had to buy our own server, it would cost us almost $30,000. So it was a significant savings for us. And there's a number of groups that are also delivering content. But this is what we use. It's a media site through Sonic Foundry is the product. These are some of our production folks that are in the studio that do the production and that provide a great job. And this is just one of the cameras that we use. We use robotic cameras for all three of our cameras, so we don't have to have the production folks man those cameras. It helps us keep our costs down, and it provides a really great experience for us. Essentially, the reason why we did the option where we were doing media site is we needed to provide PowerPoint presentation slides mixed with video and sync to video. So that was the key component for us in going with a solution such as MediaSite. One of the great things it does is it allows us to accomplish that task where we can do the PowerPoint and the video sync together. I can actually get the programs online quickly. Even though we don't record live, we usually have our webcast online by 3 o'clock. We might finish with the recording at 1 o'clock. So usually by 3 o'clock, it's online and ready to go. We also can create chapter points with it, which is a nice benefit as well. And that's a little bit about our program.
The next one should be yours.
Cool, great. So my name is Jonathan Schwartz. I'm the digital video manager at the USC Sol Price School of Public Policy. Unlike some of my colleagues here, I'm a little different at USC. Where I'm more in the video production end and online support. We have online learning split from my department. But essentially, I kind of straddle online learning and video production in the sense that we provide support for our online learning group, which is a combination of Moodle, Blackboard, Adobe Connect, some degree MediaSite, although we're deprecating that a little bit. And then we're also in charge of video production in the sense that we do live events, web streaming of those events, promotional videos, all that kind of stuff. Our official mandate was to bring production in-house to USC, so we didn't have to go to outside vendors, both for promotional and online learning, and to increase the school's reach through digital video. So that's kind of what we do. So we kind of employ a two-step model. One is what you see here, which is pretty basic. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this. It's just an asynchronous model. We have a camera. We go to Avid or Premiere, mostly Avid. We output to H.264, and then we put it on a YouTube, Vimeo, or iTunes U platform, depending on what we need. YouTube for mostly like events and seminars and and guest lecturers. Vimeo if we need to be a little more protected in our LMS, like Moodle or Blackboard, and iTunes U just for the mobile devices of Apple. Our more complex setup is something like this, which is our live streaming and HD mastering cable setup, where basically we will bring everything in via camera into an Aja IO 4K Thunderbolt device, throw it into Wirecast on a Mac Mini. For larger events like commencement, we'll run a TriCaster, depending on what we need. We can overflow out to second projectors or do iMag as we need, and then we will, our CDN provider is Ustream. And then but what we do in the process, we also record a disc, so we can actually go right out to Ustream and then publish right away to YouTube or iTunes U if the switch went flawless, which not always does. And if it didn't, we have recorded disc in high-res, ProRes, or QuickTime MOV, which allows us to edit right away into the system, the switch master, and we also record the camera ISO, so we can do a real-time turnaround edit. So for example, if we do a live event, we might not put lower thirds or bumpers and wrappers, but then at the end we'll want to put those back in and we can get it turn around pretty quickly. So we kind of straddle between live streaming and HD mastering cable. Currently, like I mentioned, we do online learning. Like I said, my team is more the technical support for it. We have lecture capture rooms to some degree. We do marketing, recruitment, promotional videos, and we do event capture with and without live streaming. So that system you just saw a second ago can straddle both offline capture and online web capture. The key trends that we're seeing, which we find interesting, is that we're getting more and more that we want to see streaming and video conference anywhere. So a lot of solutions that my team and I build is the ability we actually have like mobile carts with laptops or Mac Minis or capture cards, Blackmagic, a whole slew. I'm happy to talk to anyone who wants to do that. And we can roll into any classroom that's got reliable Wi-Fi or an Ethernet jack and stream or webcast right from in there. So our goal is that we're seeing that we need to be mobile, even if the classroom is not set up to do streaming for any kind of event. That's what we're seeing. We're also seeing that we want to integrate the distance student via streaming into the campus online environment. So we're getting a lot more pressure to be able to say, this speaker is talking, we feel would be a great value add for our online class that's focused on the same topics. Can you go in there, record it, and stream it, and get up like ASAP? So that's another thing we're seeing. And we're starting to move into kind of like what Derek was talking about, a synchronous push, where we want to be able to integrate video conferencing into events and a streaming environment, where basically we can kind of do that hybrid model where we can go in and bring the distance students on and do that. So we kind of straddle both sets of opportunities in what we do over at Price. So.
Jonathan, you have some great slides. I'm going to hire you to do mine next time.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Martin, not to be confused with the singer of the band Coldplay, who was married to Gwyneth Paltrow for a few years there. I'm an IT professional with the University of Pennsylvania. I do a little bit of everything from supporting several departments in their IT technology and faculty projects. I work on some websites, developing them on the back end, and I live webcast special events as well. At the university, we offer some 4-credit online courses through Canvas. But in 2012, the university partnered with Coursera.org to start offering what's known as massive online open courses. Or I think I said that wrong. Massively open online courses, which are basically free and open to the world, select courses at the university. So I started to get involved with a course because the faculty director of the Kelly Writers House, one of the entities of which I support, was interested in offering a course on their platform. So I worked with him to help develop it and record videos for it back in 2012. So we've run 4 iterations of that course, or just about 4 iterations of that course now. The first run of it, we had more than 45,000 students enrolled in the course, so it was a pretty wild thing to be a part of. When the university first signed on with Coursera, they were very excited. MOOCs were kind of a cool thing, MOOCs being one of the worst acronyms ever, standing for Massive Open Online Course. So it had a cool factor going to it. It was kind of a great marketing thing, but how could we bring these pre-canned, pre-recorded lectures to life for 45,000 students was one of the biggest challenges that we ran into. So here's the course page for what we built on the Coursera platform. So what we decided to do to make this pre-canned lecture, what we decided to bring it to life, we decided to do live weekly webcasts during this 10-week course. So this is our Arts Cafe space, which is a live event space that we use to actually host these webcasts, and some screenshots of kind of what our space looks like. So we have a pretty basic setup. It's a Mac Pro with 3 camcorders hooked up, HDMI, into a few capture cards, and we have a Mackie mixing board with some Shure SM58 microphones to kind of run this. The platform that we decided to use to actually conduct these webcasts is Google Hangouts on Air. It was a free solution, and it had a couple of really nice benefits for us. One, that it could accommodate unlimited viewership, which our on-campus media streaming server couldn't provide. So when we have several hundred students tuning in, Google Hangouts is a good system for that. And it also allows for virtual participants, which means we can bring in professors or poets or instructors from across the world into our webcasts and make them more interesting for our students. We also, during these webcasts, to make them interactive, we open them up to a live studio audience. And we also take phone calls from our students. We monitor social media, that is Twitter and Facebook groups, to find out what they're interested in. During these webcasts, it's really the students are the ones given center stage. And that's just a screenshot of the Google Hangout. You can see the virtual participants are kind of lined up in little boxes down there. We can switch between our feed as well as the feed of all the virtual participants we have. One of the other things that we have recently put together at the Kelly Writers House, which is where that Arts Cafe space is the Wexler Studio. And this is a studio for where we can professionally put together some really high quality videos and audio recordings, podcasts, things of that nature to help further develop the course.
Great. So again, we're open for questions. So were there any now before we get started? Yeah, in the back.
Sure.
Oh, just.
Do you treat the video conferencing and the streaming as separate entities and mix them together, or are you starting to use something like a Google Hangouts on Air or a Skype or something like that to bring those all in together holistically as one?
No, it's a good question. So currently we treat them as separate entities, and we're patching it in. We're still trying to figure out the best way to do that, to be brutally honest. But right now we're treating them as separate. We're piloting a couple new softwares to hopefully give us better control over that. But right now they're treated as separate entities. However, we do have a room set up where what we've done is we did it in one of our hardware-based rooms. We took all the cameras and fed them through to our soft codec, to an in-capture card, into a soft codec, which that room we can use Adobe Connect, we can use WebEx, take your pick, whatever. But because it's on the system and it's a capture card, we can send it right back out as a separate video feed to whatever we want to live stream or web stream as a separate source. So, but right now we're treating them as separate. We haven't really found a really great way to integrate them yet, but if that answers your question, yeah.
Hi, my name is Brian. I work in a healthcare company, but there's a lot of similarities with what you guys are doing. Just curious if you guys have had any issues and or concerns about things like privacy, security, and or piracy of your content, since you're all kind of using a wide genre of distribution mechanisms.
In terms of what we do, we have had concerns about that. There's a few things that we do is we make sure, because of HIPAA issues, we make sure that we're not, putting patient information on any of our slides or PowerPoint images that I might get from presenters. Let me talk a little bit about my workflow during the week, and it'll kind of answer some of that. Mainly what I do is we have a template that we use for our MedNet 21 program. And for that template, what I do is I get the PowerPoint slides from the presenter, and I'll reformat all of their slides so the text is bigger, everything displays, nicer instead of like small images. One of the things that I also do is I'll look for images that might have potential HIPAA violations. There's usually no issue with that, but one of the things that I have to do is at least go through and make sure there's nothing there. If there were some information that I wasn't certain about, I could just put, put a graphic or some type of black box over it just to make sure it's not in there. The other thing that I do is, in terms of, royalty-free images is one thing that we really push, is using images that are in the public domain, so making sure we're not using anything copyrighted. The other thing that I'll go through is go through all of our images that are used and verify that none of those images have copyrights. So usually what I'll do is during the week, Monday through maybe Thursday, I'll go through the presentation and make sure there's no identifying information that we're having on the webcast or anything that would present a potential HIPAA violation. And then I'll go through the content to make sure it's royalty free, and I'll verify that with the presenters as well, just to kind of put the onus on them to make sure that they tell me that there's no issues with any of their copyright issues or their copyrighted or content, sorry.
And I'm assuming you're talking about also security about actually stealing the content, is that correct?
Yes, both sides of the spectrum.
Okay, so on the other side of the spectrum, the way we solve that is we kind of delineate as to where if the content needs to be secured or not. So if we don't care about it and we want it to be open, it'll go on our YouTube or iTunes U channel, which is by nature a public source, right? If we do care about it, we have one of three options to avoid that. We'll either put it on Vimeo, kind of like what Chris does, and we will set the privacy controls in Vimeo to be only that you can't view it on Vimeo.com, and that it can only be viewed on the embedded websites that we allow. So you have to watch it on a usc.edu website for that. And then usually those same videos, if we will sometimes go one step further, especially if they're for classes, we don't want our classes that people are paying good money for to be able to be leaked out, is they'll go into the LMS or that we're using, which is usually behind Shibboleth, some kind of encrypted USC net ID or some kind of password the students have. So the content that we don't want access out there, we put behind several different walls to make sure they can't get access to it, and we do it that way.
And one of the things I didn't mention, in terms of security, it's not an issue for us. We actually want more people to watch our content, so we don't have a problem with anyone in the world being able to watch our webcast. We actually have viewers in several, hundreds of countries that actually watch the content. We provide all of our webcasts available to watch for free, so everyone in here could go and watch a webcast. And the target audience is always primary care physicians, but sometimes it relates to the whole medical team. And then the only people that really need to log in to our website are people that want to get CME credit. So if they want to get CME credit, then they have to log into the website and maybe take a post test, or they might be assigned credit. But for the most part, anyone can watch our webcast. Some of the topics are ICD-9, coding for the physician, Ebola. It could be anywhere from emerging medical diseases, a number of different topics. So if you ever wanted to learn more about different topics, you could always go online and just kind of listen to it. I know I do, in addition to watching as we're recording. You're welcome.
Great presentations. Thank you so much. My question is more around the content area. You've each got a different style of delivering the content, but do you feel that the style of performance on the part of the people in the content has not kept up? That is, do you find that people are you expecting a TV style production while the people in front of the camera are maybe a little bit more laid back or not as engaged? And also, is it difficult to engage people in the video? Do you find yourself struggling to find people or engage them or get them to promote their activities in a way that's conducive to learning?
So your first part is, how do we make the videos exciting for the viewers? And the second part is, I don't understand.
How do you engage the people in the video? Do you struggle to get them there?
To get content, to get presenters? Okay, so We, at Temple, we have a pretty big team, not big team, but we have several instructional designers, and basically their job is to work with a professor to translate, this course that they would normally do face-to-face in a classroom and bring that online. And, with that, it's whether it's something like, using new tools, using websites or web services that are interactive, or if it's just helping them structure their videos in a way that really makes sense for people to be able to learn through that. So some of that is keeping videos short. You want to stay, I think the golden zone is something like 6 to 8, but none of our videos, or at least we try to not let the professors record past 15 minutes. It's really about breaking it down to small chunks that people can watch and learn, go and use that, or there might be a short quiz or something after that video, and then they can go back and watch the next one and continue on. And then for presenters, so the way we do it is we have a program, right? So it'll be the MBA program will be online, or a specialized master's program will be online, and the department heads or whoever is running that online program will go out and basically almost contract the professors and say, hey, we'll pay you a little bit extra, come and teach this course online. And I mean, we only do that the first time that they do it. It's kind of like an incentive thing to bring them in, but I can tell you that once somebody does a course online, after they, all of the hard work is up front, making the videos, rearranging your syllabus, learning these tools to teach online, doing the synchronous sessions, but then after you get that set up, you can pretty much just keep reteaching that course. And you might tweak things here and there. The live sessions that we have will be different, obviously, because there'll be different students, but the professors can keep using the same videos. And then also those videos, we put them into a library. So now we're building this database of videos so that a professor who's teaching a brand new strategy course, he can take something from economics, he can take something from statistics and build his course out. He didn't have to record any videos. And that's the material that the students can watch and learn from, and then in the live session they'll have the professor there and they can talk to that material.
And building on that, I don't know if any of you do non-course related content creation, because a large portion of what we do is we also have to create content from speakers who come in to just speak about whatever topic. So to answer your question about that, we do suffer because a lot of people are not presenters, or they're not good at presenting, whatever. So what we found that works really good for us, because we're not doing the high quality classroom creation content all the time. We're doing a lot of also just general content creation, is we kind of do a hybrid. So if, let's say, a professor comes in and gives a talk and it's an hour-and-a-half talk, we know no one's going to watch an hour-and-a-half talk. So what we do is we actually create a 3-minute highlight reel. So we have a very consistent template, which consists of an animated musical bumper that references, shows graphically what that research center or what that department is trying to get across. Then it's a 3-minute highlight reel, or 2 to 3-minute highlight reel of the key points of the speaker, what they talked about, with white flashes or ellipses going between it, and then ending with a 3D wrapper about our school. So therefore, we promote that. So on social media and on our web channel, on our YouTube channel, we always highlight those highlight reels. And we've noticed that our viewership increased by like 400%. So by doing that, and then if they're really interested, we put annotations in the metadata and on the highlight reel itself that say, okay, go back and watch the full version here if you're really interested. That's what we currently do to kind of solve that problem when it's really long content, or maybe a few salient points. And then eventually, we want to kind of do what we're doing for the production side, what Chris already does on the academic side, is try to find a way to index all of our video with like a 3-player or something like that, so where someone could, because one thing we've also gotten as our professors, we have all these great people who come and talk, but unless they know that they came on this day and talked for an hour and a half and know they talked about this subject at this point in the video, they can't find that. So our next step is, beyond highlight reels, is to find a way to index all of our data so a professor who's teaching a class can say, okay, I want to find out when so-and-so talked about something, and search it and find it.
Yeah, also building off that, I would say just course design is huge. Most of the instructors know the course material really well, but it's about transitioning that from a live course or something they've been teaching in the classroom for 20 or 30 years into more digestible, morsels of things that can be ingested by people. And also, I think the quality, the stakes have really gone up in terms of just production value for schools. In the beginning, you could get away with a professor sitting in his office somewhere with a flickering light above their head and their little webcam, and they could record a week's worth of videos and post that online, and that was totally acceptable. Now, there's just higher stakes as more players enter the field, as more universities are offering online education. It's up to the tech teams and the production teams to actually raise the bar and produce these higher quality videos. I mean, otherwise, you can go to YouTube and get the same stuff, but if, when you have an actual instructor and you have the high quality production value, then you really have something good.
And one of the things that we'll do is we'll try to implement videos. Since we're dealing with a lot of medical professionals and physicians, we'll try to show surgery of certain different elements. A lot of times, from time to time, and I found out I don't have a weak stomach, is I have to go into the surgery room and we have to record surgery of anything from glaucoma to melanoma surgery, or any other item that might be being fixed or removed. So a lot of times we'll have a video element where it's basically B-roll, video only, and then the presenter will talk over the video so they can talk about what's exactly happening in that actual video. The other thing that we'll do to try to make it a little bit more exciting is, for the most part for us, the only thing we need to have our presenters do is just come and do the great job that they normally do. They're usually really good at sharing the information, and what we'll do is we'll have a prepping session for them before the webcast. So we'll do a short rehearsal, and then we'll have our moderator talk about certain elements to help them along the way. One of them is that they don't stop at any point in time, no matter what happens. So that's helpful. The other thing that we'll do is we'll have some intro Q&A before their actual talk, and then between the two presenters, when we have two presenters, we'll have some Q&A there. The Q&A provides a nice little touch to have some nice transition from topic to topic, and it just livens it up a little bit, and it makes it interesting. And we'll just try to have it as polished as possible. They don't have to be Emmy award-winning presenters, but we'll try to make sure they're doing certain things production-wise that make it look good, and they usually stay on point as it relates to that.
Also, I think unique to higher ed, right? It's we know if the students got something out of the video if they do well in the class, right? We see the grades, we get the feedback from the students whether they liked what was in the video. So as you change the videos, from class to class, or as new professors come to record, what works, what doesn't. So, we found having the professor be interactive with what, a PowerPoint or something that they're showing. So we'll have a tablet there now. The professor can literally just write on the screen, and the students will see that. In having the short videos, that was something really important that we found. Having just like a short quiz afterwards that, very low stakes, 3-question, multiple choice thing. It helped the students, so they just saw something, they learned something, right? And then by trying to apply it immediately, it really helped reinforce it in their minds.
Okay, my question is not about production and creation, but consumption. So if you have 45,000 students, how do they consume, and are there any challenges, network or otherwise, challenges you guys faced so that it scales across the whole campus, and any suggestions on how to scale at that level?
Yeah, we're lucky that Coursera, the platform we use, handles most of the distribution for us. We upload all of our content and videos into their actual platform, and they take it from there, which is really nice. In terms of consumption of just the amount of material we have a lot of material in the poetry course that I've been associated with, and when you're part of an online course for free and you're one of 45,000 students, and you didn't pay any money, you're not getting any credits for doing it, it becomes a much more leisurely stroll for a lot of our students. So that said, most of them will pick and choose kind of what they want to be, what they want to view, what they want to spend their time actually, looking at. So
on the other end of that, so MOOC, right, obviously that's made for like this super large audience, right? You said something like 40,000 people originally enrolled in the program, where a program like mine, right, this is people paid to be in it, right? So that's one thing that's saying, hey, they're really gonna be committed to this. And then also they're enrolled in this, so they have to watch it on some level, right? They have, if they wanna pass the class, they have to watch these lectures, they have to have attended the live video conferences. And so, a lot of times people generalize and think that there's going to be 40,000 people in the course, and while I'm sure we would love it if 40,000 people paid to take our online courses, the number is a lot lower than that. I mean, I think that the largest session that we had was an international one that we did across all of our international campuses. I think we had something like 200 people sign into that at the same time, which is a good number, right? Again, Vimeo, like you're saying, a lot of us have our videos hosted through another service. So we have Vimeo, they handle the scaling, they handle the bitrate, they handle everything like that. Right. We use WebEx for the video conferencing, and I think they support up to 500 people in the version of WebEx that we use, Training Center, but they have other formats that are for a larger audience.
We have a lot of colleges that are using video, but a bulk of those at Ohio State are using audio with their PowerPoint slides. For some reason, it's more of an interest for students to be able to get the content where they can have it go and play a little bit faster than real time, so they can get through the content and watch it. So a lot of what we're seeing on our main campus is audio-only webcasts with PowerPoint slides. Could be one of the reasons why it's not used as much. The other thing for us is if our ODE department, Office of Distance Education and E-Learning, sees that there's a need to increase servers or on the back end, they'll do that for us.
The only thing I can really add, they got to say the other thing is that we also offer iTunes U. I know it's being deprecated in a lot of ways, but it solves that sometime measure gap where they want to watch it, they want to watch it in their own time, they want to be streaming on the internet. That solves that issue, because like these guys, we put everything to Vimeo or some MOOC that take care of the bandwidth throttling for us. But we're very diligent of keeping one platform that has a download component to it, to make sure that they have that opportunity. If it's not class related and has to stay in the MOOC, if it's, I'm talking about non-MOOC, MOOC related content. But for MOOC related content, we haven't solved that issue yet. For download, we just rely on Vimeo.
Hi. Hello. Hello. Okay. Sorry. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the challenges that you were faced with making these videos ADA accessible.
So I'll speak to all the videos that we put into courses, anything that's not supplemental, anything that's required, everything that we get it all captioned. All the videos are captioned. The professors speak to any kind of PowerPoints or anything that are up, so that while that part might not translate through some ADA compliant reader, but they can hear it. They'll know what's up on the screen. With the captions, right? So I can actually. So this is a screenshot of our video library. We call it the Video Vault. And you can see right below the video are the captions. And it's hard to tell through a screenshot, but you can see one of the words in the caption is actually highlighted. And so the caption will actually follow along with what's happening in the screen. And earlier, Jonathan was talking about trying to have an index or something of all the videos so that you can go back and find things. And we found that by being ADA compliant and captioning everything just right up front whenever we produce something, that now we have this huge database, searchable database of everything that was said in every video. And you can see we have these tags under the video. We asked the professor, are there 4 or 5 things that are really strong elements of this video that we should put as tags? But also we have all the captions searchable. So if a student's taking a class in economics and maybe they're a master's student, they haven't taken that since their freshman year of undergrad, they can go and they can search terms that the professor might be talking about, and then that way find it. Also, all of the LMSs that we use, that's one of the requirements for a university to use an LMS is it has to be ADA compliant.
And for non-MOOC related coursework like YouTube or something like that, we're just starting to move in that direction. We're going to try to do a model like this, so that helps. But I agree with Chris. If you're thinking about doing any kind of mass video production whatsoever, address your ADA compliance, your transcription up front, because granted, I just did a quick search with non-educational pricing, but retail pricing, if we wanted today to transcribe our entire YouTube library, do what Chris is doing here natively, it'd be like $130,000. So the best advice we need, do what Chris did up front. We're struggling with that now because now our content must be reused and repurposed, and we have no index. We know by keyword search who spoke where, when, and whatever, but we have no idea what they said. So if that helps.
As a general rule, does the university or the professor own the intellectual property of the online courses?
So I can say at Temple, we do it as work for hire. So we own all of the material.
And at USC, they do own all the intellectual property. They own everything, but the university makes them sign a waiver, right, that says we have the ability to broadcast whatever they've recorded in perpetuity and forever in whatever medium. So they, if anything were to come up from financially, they would benefit, but we have the ability to use it for as long as we want.
At Penn, we still retain all the materials that we put into Coursera, and that was a really big deal for us when we were first partnering with Coursera.
For Ohio State, I'm not sure who the owner of the content is, but we have the ability to use that content freely on our website and deliver it in different, media formats if we need to. Any other questions?
How are y'all pulling analytics from the viewership?
So Vimeo does a great job of giving us analytics. Also, we know who logs in, right? So the homepage has one demo video that's unauthenticated, but everything else, the students have to log in with the same username and login they use for their email or whatever temple service that they're using. So in that way, we can track through the LMS. We can see, who clicked on the links to the videos. This WordPress installation, we have Google Analytics running on it through Vimeo. All the videos like that. So we get pretty good. If we need it, if we wanted to go back and look at it, we could get it.
And for non-MOOC related videos that don't use Vimeo, because we use Vimeo as well, and for like YouTube related stuff, YouTube's got fantastic analytics. For if you're a YouTube partner, you get access to like demographics and what country they're from, even more so. And what we do, which helps helps immensely, is I know that YouTube has playlists, but what we do is we actually create video groups in the analytic tab. You can go check it out, of all the videos that relate to, say, the Bajosian Center on Research and Governance and whatever, and then I can, on a month basis, or daily, whatever basis I want, generate a report on how the videos are performing with the channel as a whole using the group channel, or based on, okay, the Bajosian videos and this research is doing this way. Because what we've seen a big push for is, because we also are, I'm not sure how well we work, but we're also a cost recuperation department. So sometimes when we do video production that's non-coursework related, we charge back our services to departments for equipment and hardware, and just so we can grow. And so they want to know, okay, well, we paid you, what's the purpose of our videos? And so we give them a report we compare it to the channel as a whole. Like, you have these 200 videos in our 1,000+ channel video, you perform X compared to this, and we do it that way.
For our purposes, we can actually go into each webcast. We can log into a management portal that we have for MediaSite, and then we can go to each webcast and see how many viewers watch the video. We can get detail on the IP addresses. We can see what devices and what operating systems they use. The only information that's really lacking in terms of some of that data is we can't necessarily drill down and see where people are watching from, if they're watching from Ohio or if they're watching from California. We can't see that detail, but we can see every user. The other thing is we can see the type of experience that user had. Like, if they watched most of the video, we can see how much they watched. We can see which parts they watched more. So that part is nice in terms of what they provide. But one of the things that I've asked about is a little bit better analytics for their product, but we can see detail that way.
In using Coursera, they have pretty good insight into each student and how far along they've gotten, and just overall analytics as well, which is a little easier to grasp than going through student by student. But yeah, one of the things they're looking to develop more is exactly where student drop-offs are happening. How far are they getting into each individual video? Are students dropping off at a particular quiz or at a particular point in the course? And is there a way to optimize that? So it's really a tool for instructors to hone their courses for audiences. When we do our webcast on Google Hangouts on air, we get just a total overall viewership number, which is useful, but that's about all we get out of that.
Are any of you doing podcasting, by the way, also? Anyone doing podcasting? Okay, never mind. This is a whole separate tool for podcasting.
Is there anybody that wants to do podcasting?
Will somebody please raise their hand?
It's fine, believe me. It's a pain.
For those of you who are using LMSs, when you embed a video from a service like Vimeo, are you just embedding it using the code or using a player And if you're using a player, what player are you using?
So for us, we're actually embedding in the code. We're using Vimeo's player. That's for us. I don't know what, Chris, what you do.
So we also use Vimeo's player, but we also have, well, when we did it this way, so after we built the whole video library, now it's easier for professors to just put a link in the LMS and then it'll send them to that video in the vault. But when we did have the videos in the LMS, we embedded it using Vimeo's player, and then 3Play offers a little JavaScript kind of code that you can put in with it, and it'll actually, so that we could give something very similar to this in the LMS.
For our purposes, we just have a link, and it links to a page that MediaSite creates. So within their portal, you can just get a link for the page. And the nice thing is they provide the playback experience in terms of support. Like what we do is we use smooth streaming for our experience, and we also have MPEG-4 playback. In the future, they're supposed to be moving towards MPEG-Dash. So the great thing is their developers will develop pages that work on whatever devices will support that web page.
Hi, my question's for Derek, if I may, OH.
I.O.
All right. Quick question. Your requirement for PowerPoint, we have the same requirement to simultaneously display a PowerPoint with the video. Are you mixing it, or are you able to display both at the same time?
We're not mixing it. We're in terms of making like transitions, like transition from PowerPoint to maybe camera. You can do that with, I believe you can do that with the MediaSite system. We just don't do that. Like if you wanted to highlight just the camera, you could switch those sources within the MediaSite. But for what we do, we're more interested in having the slides display the whole time, and then the presenters, mainly in terms of the presenter, it's basically a medium close-up shot of them throughout their whole talk. So we can always see them, and then in terms of slides, it's just synced up with them as they present on breast cancer. That slide for breast cancer shows up as well.
If you upgrade, though, by the way, I think the newest version of MediaSite, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure what version you're on.
We're on 7.0.23.
Okay, so the newest version, yeah. So you should have, also, I think you can enable a special, if you use their full player, there's an option. So MediaSite records PowerPoint and video simultaneously. So there's a little feature where the student can choose to flip. I mean, between the video or PowerPoint, however they want. So now you can customize that in the back end, because we used to use MediaSite quite frequently. But if you don't want to customize it, by default, the student has that choice. And if we're not doing a MediaSite presentation where the hardware is designed to do that, then we are doing exactly what you said at the first point, where you actually will go into the edit bay using Avid or Premiere, and we will dissolve into a full-screen PowerPoint to solve out. And we do that for our talks that are in non-MediaSite capable rooms, which is the majority of our non-classroom production content.
And I have another question for anybody on the panel. You're talking about transcribing your videos. Has anybody looked into spoken word search in the video itself?
Spoken word search, so that you can, like
a phonetic search, like you can search for the word being spoken in the video itself.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's
what you're doing.
So,
okay.
yeah, so if you look in between the video and where the caption is, it says search video. When you search that, it'll actually search for every time, whatever word or phrase that you put in actually shows up in the captions, and it'll mark the video for you. So if you click on the word, it'll jump to that point in the video. Right.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Thank you.
What tool are you using to do that? What mechanism?
So 3Play actually, when they give you the captions, they're very friendly with Vimeo and YouTube or whatever, and they give you the JavaScript code to put right under the embed code, so that it'll track the video for you. Anybody else?
Stump the room.
So I'll say that, one of the things that we were really trying to push for is, so while right now we work very heavily with the faculty, because these are graduate programs, and like Jonathan and Chris were saying earlier, it's all about this high production value. The students are paying a lot of money, they want the best experience, they're used to seeing TV, and now they have to watch these videos. They want it to look that good, kind of thing. Derek does live events, very high quality live events. You saw his little studio set up so that, these are professional things we're trying to publish for these people. But as this is growing, right, it's going to move into undergrad. And then with that, so everything that we're doing, we're trying to create a workflow so that later professors can almost do this on their own. So while they might not be able to edit a video like this, by having everything in this video library, now people can go and just get the embed link from our video library and put it in their course, kind of thing. So I think that a lot of what we're trying to do is build it so that later another professor could just come in and build his own course using our stuff. And I think that that's really a key thing for everything that we try and do. You know, having everything searchable and having everything be able to be linked into the LMS is it's an environment that they already know how to work in, instead of having to go out and upload the videos themselves to Vimeo and then give it to somebody else.
And one of the things I did want to mention is at our main campus, our ODEE department, our Office of Distance Education and E-Learning, they actually provide training, which is great, on MediaSite for not so much for the hardware recorder users, but for the instructors that have classes that they need to start getting content online, which is a great resource for them, so they can actually go and find out what the process is for it and get some hand-holding to make their content. The other thing that we've done is we've started a MediaSite users group, so we have a lot of what we call the power users there that are using MediaSite on campus, so we can come together and talk about issues that only the hardware recorder users would have. So that's a great resource, and ODEE has helped us set that up, so that's great.
I guess I'll close with building what Chris said earlier. Quality is really important nowadays. We have found that for those few times that we're a professional in-house production shop within the university, so we do both online learning and seminars and events and live captures, like we do our own commencement, that kind of stuff. If you are ever at a situation where video has to be compromised, do not compromise your audio. I think people are a lot more forgiving if the audio is good in this day and age with high quality online video. We're kind of a little different. I'm a little different. I straddle both worlds. We have to do the online learning, but we also have to increase USC's brand by creating a dynamic and rich YouTube channel that has to grow, and we have to upload several videos per week. And right now we upload on average 5 videos per week of seminars and events and captures outside of the distance learning and MOOC and stuff. So we have found that having that resource in-house is much more cost-effective than going outside. We were paying on average before I came on board somewhere on the average of $1,000+ to bring an outside vendor to capture anything. That just was a starting point, but not counting web streaming or whatever else. And by bringing that in-house, we were able to increase that production value and quality immensely and have a dynamic YouTube channel that we create and monitor ourselves and increase our engagement with our students and our community.
I would just say that we've noticed it's been huge just to have instructor presence and engagement and for them to be fully involved as they would be in an in-person class on online courses. When these platforms kind of gear instructors and courses towards instructor absence, but I think engagement is huge, and I think we're going to see more and more need for that in order to actually do something cool with online learning and streaming and things like that. Because otherwise all we have is YouTube, and we've had that since 2005.
Okay, so if there's no other questions, I think that's it for us. We're more than willing to hang around. Lunch is after this, or coffee break is after this, so feel free to come up and ask us any questions that we didn't get to answer.